Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast for a thriving life and business. And we are live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And you can hear us on the podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and many more. Today, we will be talking about reducing relationship stress during the holidays. Are there some people in your life that you are not looking forward to seeing during the holidays? Learn and find out how to manage your relationships and stress and live an inspired and empowered life. You'll also learn 3 principles of how to boost your self-care and be more centered and calmer during the holidays, how to deal more effectively with difficult people, and discover the number one mistake that would keep you from having healthier relationships. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive business coach. I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform your life. And this show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. Now, last week we talked a lot about stress and a lot about what stress is. And this time we're going to jump more deeply into relationships and about relationships and what you need to know in order for you to really maximize the holiday season, have a great holiday season, and enjoy your holidays. Now, usually what happens is during the holidays, it can bring up pressure, expectations, unresolved emotional patterns, and family triggers. And we're going to talk more about how you can deal with all of that. So, what happens during the holidays is that the holidays reactivate. And what I talk about reactivate, it's you get triggered. You may regress, meaning instead of being the adult, you start feeling like the child. And you regress to old patterns, old ways of being, old family dynamics. So you may feel like the adult in your own family, but if you go back to your family of origin where you grew up, you may end up feeling like that little child again. And what happens is those old family dynamics can bring up old roles and expectations. And when you are under stress, and we talked about this last week, is that when you're under stress, your emotional brain takes over. And so you or someone you know or a family member, a relative, a friend may lash out. You may shut down, or they may shut down, or you slip into old patterns. And what I really want you all to know is that most conflict comes from unmet needs, from unspoken expectations and unhealed emotional wounds. And what happens is people show up from their stress, not from their soul. And so what I really want you to remember is that when things happen in relationships with other people, and whether this is during the holiday season or when most people get even more stressed, or during the year round, it's not about who they are. It's about how you choose to respond. And that's really most important. It's about really getting clarity on how you can respond so that you are taking care of yourself. You're not getting drawn into drama. And what can you do to stop that? Now, we have some questions coming in. So let's look at those questions. Misty says, well, come to think of it, yes, this year there is a person who I would like to avoid. Okay, so Misty, you're not alone. Okay, I'll get to Nikki's in a second. Yes, you're not alone, and what happens is it's about learning what you can do during that holiday time. And again, I want to remind you, it's not about avoiding the function. If you feel like you want to go to your family and celebrate with your family and be around your family because you love your family, but there's one relative or person you really don't want to be around, don't let that person ruin your holiday dinner, your time with your family. And there are ways, and we're going to talk more about what you can do so that you don't have to get stuck in and get upset about the person you really want to avoid. So we will talk more about that very shortly. And then Mickey says, lashing out is not good mistake of the time. Is not what happens is, Mickey, yes, lashing out is not a good thing. You do not want to be lashing out. You don't want to lash out. And if somebody's lashing out on you, we're going to talk about how to handle that too, to support you when they're in that place. Okay, so it's going to be important for you to remember. And if you feel like you want to lash out, I am going to support you. We're going to talk about the self-care strategies that can help you to calm yourself down, because here's the key. Remember, last week we were talking about how stress shuts down that nervous system of yours. It shuts you down, and what ends up happening is all those parts of you that are able to emotionally manage situations and stress and emotions get shut down. And so it's learning to be able to find a way. I call it grow yourself back up, to be able to become the adult again, because what's happened is you become the child instead of the adult. That's what happens when you regress. So we'll talk about that too. Anastasia says, how do you know the best way to deal at the moment is the best question? So I'm hoping over the course of the show, Anastasia, that you get more clarity on that. And if you don't, definitely please say, can you give me more information about how to deal with this certain situation? If there's a specific situation that's coming up for you that you would like to address or deal with. And Misty says, many people want to avoid this one person this year, And this is a complicated situation this year. Okay, so I hear that you're not the only one that wants to avoid this person, and that it sounds like it's complicated for the family. And it sounds like that maybe this person is getting invited because there's have tos. And I really want to support you in thinking as I talk about the self care strategies and I talk about boundaries, how you can take care of yourself and maybe even support some of the other people to take care of themselves during the holiday gathering so that all of you feel more able to deal with this person. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about what you can do. Again, I want to prioritize self care because the bottom line is your self care is like your oxygen mask. Like, when you go flying in an airplane and they say you put on your oxygen mask before you help anybody else, before you put on anybody else's oxygen mask. Your self care, and I call it your essential self care, is your energetic preparation, and your energy is going to set the tone for how people respond to you. Now, you can't guarantee that if you're grounded and centered, then they will not react because you can't make somebody else do something. Again, this is about you. It's about how you choose to be and how you choose to respond. And so it's going to be really important before you go to a family gathering, before you go to a gathering or a friend's gathering, the more grounded you are, and grounded, again, I'll review groundedness. When you are breathing and you're feeling your feet, and you may imagine golden light coming down and your feet growing those roots, and you breathe and you feel your feet and you feel your breath, and you feel more in your body, more centered, more aligned. You feel calmer, more relaxed. You're more grounded. You're in alignment. You're more centered. And that is the way that you want to enter gatherings this holiday season. When you're depleted, every interaction you have will feel heavier, more stressful, overwhelming. And so that's why it's so important for you to be able to really do that self-care because, and we talked about this, what happens is when you are stressed or when you're in emotions and emotionally upset, you are not regulated emotionally and your nervous system is whacked out over, it's emotionally, the emotions take control rather than you being able to be clear-headed. And it's coming from that wounded part of you rather than your soul or your higher self, that wise, unconditionally loving part of you. And so what you want to do is you want to learn how to be more your higher self and your soul when you walk into gatherings. And so a few things that you could do is you want to imagine maybe do a short grounding meditation, kind of like what I did right now, just breathing and allowing yourself to imagine golden light and imagine your legs and your feet and feel them on the floor and feel and imagine your feet growing those roots into the earth, and breathe. And you may want to do 2 minutes of deep breathing before you enter a gathering. And again, remember we talked about belly breathing, putting your hand on your belly. And when you breathe in, your belly goes out. When you breathe out, your belly goes in. And you want to focus on that for like 2 minutes. So another thing that you can do is setting an intention for the day. So for example, you can set an intention. I choose to have a great time at this gathering, no matter who's there. I choose to feel empowered. That when I go into this gathering, I'm making that choice to feel empowered, and I choose to have fun. So set that intention for the day, for the gathering. And then you're going to ask your intuition, what do you need to do to feel safe and supported right now? Or if it's before you go to the gathering, what will you need to do to feel safe and supported at that gathering? So tune in. What will help you to feel safe and supported? And so those are important questions during the course, and I really want to support you in being able to ask yourself those questions to really support you so that you can feel more safer and more grounded and centered before you even go to the gathering. Mickey asks, or Miss Mickey says, okay, Mickey says, show up with a smile, no matter how fake, and leave when you can't take it any longer before opening your mouth. Okay, Mickey, so I'm really going to support you. What if, okay, I hear that sometimes what happens for you is that you go to the gatherings and you have to fake it. And if you need to fake it till you make it, or fake it in order to get through it, I hear you. And if that's what you need to do, then do that. And I also want to support you to ask yourself, and we're going to talk more about some of the ways that you can help yourself to perhaps not feel like you have to fake it. What would it be like to really feel more grounded or centered, and that when you smile, you're feeling grateful, or feeling grateful for perhaps your family, or feeling grateful for someone that you're going with, or feeling grateful for some of the people that are there. Focus on some of the things that where you can feel grateful, so that when you smile, it's coming from your truth, it's coming from your heart. And that will also help you feel more grounded and centered and connected. And so I really want to support you. And then you leave when you need to leave. That's self-care. And we're also going to talk about boundaries and setting, if you need to only stay for half an hour or an hour, whatever works for you, then you do what you need to do. This is also self-care. And it's self-care, essential self-care. I really want to support you in all of those. So let me know, Mickey, if that's helpful, or how that feels for you. And we'll talk more about boundaries shortly also. So Misty says, we can't let the presence of one blow the evening for all, but the forecast is not looking good. Okay. So Misty, I hear you. And it sounds like this person actually really is upsetting too many people there. And I'm hoping that maybe some of the tools that I'm going to go through on how to deal with difficult people can be helpful to you. Okay. So let's jump into some other things. So these are more self-care practices for the busiest days. First of all, I really want to support you in taking boundary breaks. if you are at a gathering and somebody triggers you, or if you're at a gathering and you need to go outside and get some fresh air, step away to recenter. That is a self-care practice that all of you can use. So, and if this one person at that gathering is really affecting you, find a way to either go to the other side of the room, not interact with them, do what you need to do to take care of you so that you are doing that self-care. And if you need to leave 10 minutes early or earlier to reset, let's say you have more events. Let's say you have 2 events or 3 events in a day, leave early. And again, this is boundaries, and we're going to talk more about self-empowered boundaries. And know that it's okay for you to do this on your time. What works for you. That's self-care strategies that are really crucial during this time of year. And you can have a mantra saying, I'm choosing peace right now. I choose to be in alignment. So make that your mantra. I choose peace. I choose to be in alignment, and breathe. Remember, breathing helps. When you notice that you're stressed, you need to remember that your breath can help you calm down pretty quickly. Because what happens is when you're stressed or when you get emotionally triggered, your lungs shut down. So the more that you can breathe and ground, the better it is. And I also want you all to know, learning to say no without guilt is huge. And that you have a right to say no, that you need to say no. It's no. And in the 12-step program, I believe this is from AA, it says no is a complete sentence. And it is. So if you need to say no, then you do it. And also set your boundary of when you want to leave. So if you only want to be there for a half an hour, it's okay for you to only be there for that long. It's okay. And I want to remind you, the more your energy is centered, the more it's easier to deal with difficult people. It becomes easier. And this is self-care, really important. So hoping some of that helps you. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Mickey says for lots of reasons. All right, Misty, sorry, Misty. Misty says for lots of reasons. So I hear there's lots of reasons. I'm hoping that some of the things that I'm suggesting can be helpful to you and perhaps even some of your other people that will be at the gathering. So hoping that that will be helpful for you. And let's go to, so again, I want to come back to setting empowered boundaries. I cannot emphasize the importance, because it's huge. Your boundaries are so crucial in your self-care. Your boundaries are so crucial when it comes to de-stressing yourself during the holiday season. The more you take care of yourself and set those boundaries that feel in alignment with you and your soul, the easier it will be for you during the holiday season. So I want to talk a little bit about different boundaries. So you have your emotional boundaries. So The emotional boundaries are I won't take on their stress as mine. So let's say, Misty, with that person that you're talking about, if that person is stressing other people out, do not take on the other people's stress as yours. Do what you need to do to take care of you. So that's one thing. You don't have to deal with that person, or if you need to avoid that person, go on the other side of the room. Hopefully, that can be helpful. Find strategies that can help you. You don't have to take on other people's stress, all of you. Do not take on other people's stress as yours. And very often, what happens is you don't even realize, especially if you're an empath. An empath is someone who takes on other people's feelings. So you could be feeling relaxed and peaceful and centered, and you walk into a gathering, and all of a sudden you're feeling angry or irritable, resentful, or fearful. That may be a sign that you may be taking on other people's feelings. And if that's the case, I really want to support you in asking for help in separating, imagine giving back the other person their emotions, and then ask that it be transmuted into higher vibration, so that the energy goes to a higher level. Then there's the time boundaries, that you only want to stay an hour. You only want to stay an hour or an hour and a half, and really honor your boundary of how long you want to stay. Then there's conversational boundaries. And if somebody brings up a topic that you do not want to deal with, you say, I prefer not to talk about that, or I prefer not to talk about that topic. You have a right to stop a conversation, to say you don't want to go there. This is about you being empowered, doing the self-care, setting the boundaries that really supports you in taking care of yourself. You could say phrases like, I hear you, I'm just not available for that right now. Or you could say things like, let's shift the conversation. Or if you need to take a time out, you say, I'm stepping away for a moment. And this is really important. Know that your boundaries become easier when you've done your own work, when you've cleared old patterns, like feeling guilty when you say no, or feeling like you have to go here or have to do that, the have tos, the shoulds. When you start working through those deeper levels, the boundaries become easier. And then it's really important to have those empowered communication. And that comes from feeling more healed in your nervous system. And it's really being able to do the self-care. And that's all part of what I do when I'm working with my clients, is clearing the deeper level issues so that you can set the boundaries, you can have that empowered conversation, all of really important information. So Misty says, okay. So Misty says, we are all stressed since we got the news that this person is now going. All right. So Misty, I really want to support you. I hear that everybody's stressed out about it. And again, take care of yourself. You can't take care of everybody else. All right. I really want to, this is for all of you. Okay. So often when you are a giver, you want to make it good or okay for everybody, especially when it's a family gathering. And I really want to support you. It's not your responsibility to take care of everybody else. Okay, Misty says, I would like to think things would be the best in the best light, but I feel a blow up, albeit well needed. It's just not the right time for this to go down. So I don't, so Misty, if there is a blow up, then, and if it's with you, I don't know if the blow up will be with you and this other person or a blow up with someone else and someone else. But what I really want to support is that to be able, you do your self-care. You can't make it all better for everybody else. And again, I'm going to go over some ways to deal with difficult people and difficult situations. And I'm hoping that maybe this will help you, Misty, and help all of you that may have that coming up. Okay. So let's talk about how to deal with difficult people. The first thing that all of you need to remember or choose to remember, you don't need to. I support you in remembering that their behavior is not about you, it's about them. And these difficult people can act out around because they're stressed out, they're in fear, they haven't healed their old wounds, they're overwhelmed. And so it's going to be really important for you to remember and separate. That's them. This is me. And this also includes other people that are concerned about this person too. And I support you. You may want to support them in listening to the show or the other people that are concerned about this person. The other thing is to identify. Now, this is really important to identify your role. Do you need to be the peacemaker? Do you need to be a caretaker? Do you try to be an invisible one and try to hide, or you try to fix it? And I really want to support you in finding a new role. And the new role that I want to support you in finding is the self-care, being the empowered person coming from your higher self and your soul so that you feel that empowerment and you feel that groundedness and centeredness. And if we need to keep working on this next week, we will. I just really want to support all of you in knowing. Now, it's going to be really important that you do not engage them. And this is something that hopefully other people at the gathering, if somebody is really irritable or critical, do not engage. Because when you engage somebody that's difficult, it's going to be a no-win. You're not going to convince them. You're not going to make it all right. So you are better. Okay. So if they're critical and they criticize, don't defend, breathe and redirect. Breathe and redirect. If they push your boundaries, you're going to repeat yourself calmly. If they push your boundaries, repeat yourself calmly. And if they are trying to trigger you, because sometimes some people try to goat you or try to make you angry, try to make you upset, to really be aware, and you need to take that time out. Step away and reset. Step away and reset. So that's going to be really important. And then I really want to support you in learning how to respond. And we've talked about this, but again, I want to go over this because this is huge. Learning to respond instead of react. So, 3 things that you can do to respond instead of reacting is pause, breathe, count. You can count to 5, count to 10. And if you need to leave the situation, take that time out. This is about you taking care of yourself. You want to learn to keep grounding your energy. Take those breaks to keep regrounding, recentering, taking care of yourself. And I want to remind you to keep choosing consciously how you want to show up. Keep choosing consciously how you want to show up. And you can ask yourself in the moment, what's the most empowered choice for me right now? What's the most empowered choice for me right now? So I'm hoping that some of these techniques and tools will help all of you to be able to navigate the situation. Now, if you want, we can continue to work on this, or if you want to do another topic, we can do that. A reset before the new year, or to continue to work on how to deal with the holidays. So type in, as we start coming to an end for this show, type in those that are live, type in the chat what you would reset. Mickey says reset. All right. So Mickey wants a reset. What about you, Misty and Anastasia? And anybody else that's listening live. So, and what I can do is also weave some of these things in for the reset, for the new year. And reset would be good. All right. Well, we got the vote. The vote seems to be reset. Reset would be good. All right. So next week, we are going to talk about resetting yourself and what you can do to reset and prepare for this new year. And so I just want to go over what we talked about. We talked about, remember that self-care and how crucial that self-care is. It's essential. And it's really important for you to stay and work on being more grounded and centered, learning to set boundaries to protect your energy and really feel more empowered, and really learning how to connect more deeply with you to navigate holiday relationships with ease. And really important, focus on your self-care practices. What can you do? Because these are the practices, and I'm going to continue to be talking about this a lot because self-care is huge. It is a game changer in your life and in your business. Self-care is the game changer you're looking for. So we will continue to talk about that as well. So, okay, I got, Mickey says a reset may be what is needed. Let go Let go of the negative past. All right. We will do that. All right. Thank you for sharing. And I really want to say thank you for being here, all of you, whether you're live or you're listening at a later time or viewing at a later time. Yeah, Misty says probably a good idea. We will be doing that. And I really want to wish you, and remember, we are live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, my YouTube channel. And you can listen to the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And I wish you an inspired and empowered day, an inspired, empowered night, and an inspired and empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.